Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Mendoza, and today I'll be talking about the Codex Mendoza, specifically Book 3. The Codex Mendoza is a 16th century manuscript commissioned by the Spanish. It is named after Don Antonio de Mendoza, the Viceroy of New Spain, who supervised its creation and who was a leading patron of the native artist. It documents the history, economy, and social structures of the Aztec Empire. The manuscript is divided into 3 sections, which is territorial expansion, tribute, and daily life. And today I will be going more in depth and more in detail into Book 3, which is daily life. We'll explore its significance, key themes, and how it helps us understand the Aztec civilization. I do want to make note that the manuscript is also one of the most famous collaborative projects between Nahua artists and Spanish interpreters of the first half of the 16th century. The daily life starts with the mother giving birth to a baby and is giving a new life accompanied by a midwife who is full of wisdom, experience, and emotional support. Reason behind this is because girls usually marry by the age of 15, which directly leads to a first birth occurring not long after. Upon delivery of the baby, the umbilical cord is cut by the midwife, the baby is unwashed, and immediately offers a prayer to Chilektequa, the fertility goddess, that the newborn hopefully will have a calm and pure heart. This procedure happens whether the baby is a boy or a girl. As soon as an infant was born, men skilled in divination were called in to determine the child was under a good or bad sign. Over here on folio 58, we see the ages from 3 to all the way to age 7. You could tell this by the blue dots, which emphasize their age, and the yellow rash over here, which indicates a tortilla. From age 3, there have not been assigned daily chores, but are being taught behavioral cues. Half a tortilla is given each meal, and the clothing that the children wear resembles of their parents. The boy wears a cape on his same shoulder as his father, but doesn't wear a loincloth. The little girl wears her hupili, but wears no skirt. The daughter now wears a longer skirt at age 5, receiving instruction on how to properly use a spindle. She sits down on the ground level, where much of the work will take place, and she follows her mother's posture. Now the boys are sent outside to bring back loads of material like firewood, grass to make brooms. They use their capes to help carry the load. In the situation where they're carrying something a bit heavier like firewood, they tie the cape around the forehead for support. If it is something lighter, they tie it around their shoulder. They still receive a full tortilla with each meal, where they started at age 4. By age 9, as a punishment, the 9-year-old boy is pierced with the maguey spikes for being incorrigible. The son is tied up from his hands and feet while being naked. The daughter was being negligent and was pierced with the same spikes, but only on her hands. Moving on to age 11, the punishment still escalates, with the boy being held naked by his father over dry, chilly smoke in his nostrils. It is known that this could possibly end up being lethal. The daughter is punished the same way, except that she is tied up. The punishment for the boy now at age 12 is him being tied, stretched out, and being laid down on damp ground all day. The daughter, realizing the escalation of punishment, has started to behave better, and is now sweeping at night. Her hair is longer and is starting to become a young Aztec maiden. Now at age 15, at this age, a boy's path was largely determined by his family and social status. Some were delivered by their fathers to become novice priests, beginning their religious training in a Calmecac, a school dedicated to preparing young men for priesthood. Each Aztec deity had its own specific ceremonies, and the training varied accordingly. The Calmecac provided an extensive education that encompassed a wide range of subjects, including military strategy, economics, astronomy, religion, and law. The school was run by priests, and its rigorous training prepared students for a life of devotion and discipline. Alternatively, many young men, particularly the sons of commoners, attended the Telpochcali, the neighborhood school, where they primarily trained for warfare. Unlike the Calmecac, which focused on a broad education, the Telpochcali emphasized military skills and physical endurance to prepare young men for battle. Now, on the flip side, for young women, by this age, most girls were expected to marry. The wedding ceremony typically took place at night, with the bride escorted to the groom's house while being carried on the back of a matchmaker.
Before the wedding, soothsayers were consulted to select a favorable day for the ceremony, with the good dates including reed, monkey, crocodile, eagle, and house. Once a date was set, preparations began with women spending 2 or 3 days making tamales for the banquet. The day before the wedding, invitations were issued, and by midday, guests gathered to celebrate. Gifts were exchanged, and older men and women drank pulque, an alcoholic beverage made from agave. The groom was typically several years older than the bride, as he needed to complete his education and training before marrying. During the ceremony, the couple sat on a mat while matchmakers tied the bride's hupili and the groom's cape together, symbolizing their union. Afterward, the newlyweds were led to a bedchamber, where they remained for 4 days. On the 5th day, festivities resumed. Life as a novice priest was extremely tough. Novice priests had strict obligations marked by their solid black face and body paint, which symbolized their commitment. Their duties included sweeping the temple, venturing into mountains to collect branches for decoration, and carrying maguey spikes to be used in blood sacrifices. They also hauled green canes on their back to build fences and adorn the temple. Life as a novice was harsh, requiring strict discipline and constant labor. In addition to their demanding temple duties, novices were expected to fast and abstain from hearty meals. If a novice neglected his responsibilities or rebelled, such as sneaking home to sleep for 3 days, he would be severely punished by the head priest, who would pierce his body as a form of discipline. Despite these hardships, the role of a priest was one of the most highly respected positions in Aztec society, and entering the priesthood was not a decision taken lightly. For those who did not pursue the priesthood, the Telpuchcali provided a rigorous military education. As part of their later training, a young man's father would present him to a tiquihua, a seasoned warrior who would mentor him in martial arts and prepare him for war. Carrying firewood, a common early chore, served as a precursor to this training. By gradually increasing the weight of the logs, instructors tested the young man's strength and endurance, determining his potential as a warrior. During battles, the young warrior in training was required to carry his mentor's baggage. A seasoned warrior typically carried a multicolored Quexio-style feathered shield, a symbol of his experience and status. A great warrior was expected to be fearless, aggressive, and skilled in capturing enemies. In contrast, the poor warrior was seen as cowardly. It was extremely important to be a member of war, since it was a major thing that was happening in Mexico. And capturing enemies was a crucial point and somewhat a necessity, since the more people you capture, the more customized your appearance would be. It is known that militarily wise, you would have to capture an enemy to even start your career as a warrior, and from then they would just keep progressing. Ultimately, Aztec society thrived on a foundation of hard work, respect for authority, and loyalty to the empire. Adherence to a rigorous moral code was a must, all of which contributed to the stability and strength of the empire. Taught from a very young age, all the way till their deaths, that's what they thrived upon. Like many other rarities and curiosities from distant lands, the Codex was valued both in its place of origin and in many other locations, and this interest is reflected in its multiple owners and many travelers from Mexico City, across the Atlantic to Europe, and then to Paris, London, and Oxford, and it continues to travel today as a regular presence in high-profile exhibitions. Thank you.